Today I want to reflect on some life lessons we can learn from the game of golf. Stay tuned. Hello, friends. Pastor Tim Westermeyer here, Senior Pastor of St. Philip the Deacon in the western suburbs of Minneapolis. Good to be with you as always. Today I want to talk about some lessons we can learn about life from the game of golf, which happens to be one of my passions. I will get to those lessons in a minute, but first, a couple of preliminary comments. First, if you do not like golf, if you're not a golfer, if you hate golf, I still actually think this message might have some meaning for you, so I would encourage you to at least give it a listen. That's the first preliminary message. The second has to do with this podcast. People who understand podcasts like this better than I do have suggested to me recently that, Tim, you really should explain that liking and subscribing and commenting on YouTube is helpful to raise awareness of the podcast. So I'm going to pause just briefly to encourage you, if you appreciate and like this content, to do those things. The vast majority of people who listen to podcasts like this do not subscribe to them. And when you subscribe to this podcast, one, you'll be alerted to new episodes, or when you subscribe when you like a podcast, or when you comment on it, when you engage with it in any way, it communicates to the YouTube algorithm that this is meaningful content that other people might like as well. So it's a very easy, free, simple way to help spread news about this podcast. So again, per the instructions of some other people who understand this stuff better than I do, I am pausing for a moment to encourage you to do all of those things if you would like. Thank you for that, and thus endeth the commercial message. All right, to golf. Again, I've talked in the last few episodes about how summer is speeding by. One of the things I love to do during the summer, and indeed the spring and fall, and sometimes even during the winter if I can get away, is golf. Like most golfers, I don't get to golf enough, but when I do, I do love the game, and I love all kinds of things about it, and I do think it teaches us some important lessons about life. So I'm going to lift up 3 of those this morning. I could probably extend that list to many, many more, but I'll limit it to those 3. So the first one I'm going to say is the title of this one I'm going to call Be at Peace. It turns out that golf is really hard, and it takes a long time to learn to play it well. And so this lesson is sort of accept whatever level you're at that particular time, and be at peace with it. Don't fight that. The corollary to this is actually, if you are a even reasonably good golfer, on any given round that you play, there are going to be some shots that are working well for you a given day, and some shots that are working less well. It's very rare that your whole game, driving, long and mid irons, and short approach shots and putting, are all working beautifully. So again, there's a sense of accept what the game gives you and recognize that the next time you play, hopefully you will have improved, and just accept it. Be at peace with that. I hope that makes sense. The second message, and this honestly may be the one I think of most frequently when it relates to golf, and that I'm going to call this one simply be present. It is so easy when you're playing a round of golf to look behind you and think about, oh, I missed that shot on number 3, or I 3-putted number 5, or I'm so annoyed with my drive that I yanked out of bounds on the first tee. It's easy to live in the past. That's one problem. It's also easy to focus on the future. Oh boy, number 10's coming up, and that's a long carryover water. I'm always scared about that hole. Or, gosh, I've got a good round going. Hopefully I don't ruin it with a double bogey on the last hole, which I've done, by the way, more than a few times. And so rather than look to the past or the future, one of the really critical life lessons golf can teach us is focus on the present moment. Here's the shot you have right now. Pay attention to it. Be fully engaged in it without fretting about the past or worrying about the future, okay? This is one of those, it's a lifelong lesson. It's far easier to talk about and say you should do this than to do it, but it is a lesson indeed that golf teaches us. The final one, I'm going to call this just be grateful. Again, I've mentioned this a couple of times already in this episode. Golf is hard, and it's certainly possible in any round of golf that you can end up focusing only on the bad things that happen, right? Or the frustrations of the game. But if you're playing golf, there are a lot of good things happening too. You're out in nature. Hopefully you're with people who you enjoy being with. And by the way, if you don't enjoy being with them, you should find some new golf partners. But there are all kinds of things that you can celebrate and give thanks for during a round of golf. And so again, the life lesson here is, life also has frustrations and annoyances and challenges and difficulties, and it also has great joys. When we train ourselves to tend to focus on the joys, to pay attention to the blessings, to be grateful for them, I think it allows us to go through life with a better disposition, okay? And I'm going to end with this. This is a quote. It's related to this last point about gratitude or gratefulness, from one of my favorite authors, G.K. Chesterton. And I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but again, it applies to today's episode as well. And he says this: when it comes to life, the critical thing is whether you take things for granted or take them with gratitude. And so my prayer for all of us, whether we're golfing or living, is that we can take things with gratitude. One final PS to this, related to the point about engaging with these podcasts. If you are a golfer and you have learned some other life lessons, I would love to know what those are. If you play other games or other sports or other endeavors that have taught you important life lessons, I would love to hear those as well. And I know other people would too. So please include those in the comments below. And thanks for being with me today. And as always, until next time, be well, stay in touch, and God bless.